I noticed kind of like a rippling. They say, read all those breast cancer things and that's, something to look for. And I just noticed it that day. And I said to my husband, does this look kind of weird? He's like, I don't know, should I call Dr. Nick? I'm like, well, let me decide. So I called to get a biopsy scheduled and they said, well, we can get you in, it's like 10 days away. So I do the biopsy and he gets them and said it was malignant, that I had a cancerous mass. I didn't say anything to work at anyone. I wanted to really just kind of think about over the weekend. I needed to tell my sisters, and my son it was his finals at school. He was away at college in Omaha. So my doctor on Monday, he said, you do need to start chemo and we're gonna start it right away. And this was right before Christmas. At the time, Chris Pero was my lead and I had sent him an email to ask if I could meet with him. And I knew at that time, like once I said something that, not necessarily a weight lifted off, but more like it became real, like it was really happening. Then I started chemo the week after. And so they put these steroids in you and Benadryl and all sorts of things, so you're kind of amped up. Tiredness, achiness, the nausea is pretty severe, but that was the most of the side effects. And then, you start to lose your hair, which is a little traumatic. So I started losing my hair in clumps. And finally I was like, I have to shave my head. So I went with my husband and son, I made an appointment after a few chemo treatments, and she shaved my head. But I had very little hair left, it was just falling out, and it was traumatic. Like I was bawling my head off, and I knew that it just is such a long process, like your hair and growing back, and then you lose your eyebrows, you lose eyelashes, so it was probably one of the hardest things was to lose the hair and actually shave the head. Plus my last day of chemo, the next day was the Susan G. Komen walk. I signed up for the walk and I didn't put down as a survivor. It's always in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, am I a survivor? I'm not, I'm not even a year out of chemo. The lady from Susan G. Komen called me and I was actually walking into chemo. And she's like, I have your friend Heather here and she says that you need a pink bib. I said, well, I didn't really put myself down as a survivor. And Heather's like, no, you are, and you're getting a pink bib. The big encouragement that I would give somebody is don't let cancer run your life and don't let it define you. I really still wanted to live my life and I didn't want it to define me, and I didn't want me to be one of those people, one of those sick people. Even when I went to chemo, I had my wig on or a head covering, I put eyelashes on, I penciled in eyebrows, and a lot of people didn't think, oh, I was that sick girl. I just kind of wanted to be that same person, and I didn't want people to feel bad or feel sorry for me. And my husband was wonderful to me. My son was great. They both were at every single chemo treatment with me, and I feel like, oh, that's the person I want to be. I want to be like a good example, to not think my life is over, it's the worst thing in the world. There's worse things in the world, there's worse people off, so I just kind of thought I was just going to live my life like that.